Welcome to Roundhouse Roulette, a Walker, Texas Ranger podcast. I'm Evan Dalton, here with my brother Adam.
What's up?
And our bro from another Mo, Mr. Bob Leahy.
Howdy doody.
I would like to thank you all for joining us. Normally, we'd be recapping and reviewing a bone-breaking episode of Walker, Texas Ranger, randomly selected for us by our patented Roundhouse Roulette. But today, we thought we'd celebrate the podcast's 1-year anniversary. Insert party noises. By discussing, you gotta have like the beep, beep, beep horns. Yeah.
Or one of those sad blow things. That's
a combination of the two actually would be perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. This week, we're going to be commemorating our anniversary by discussing the revelations from Wizard World's recent nostalgia-themed Walker, Texas Ranger panel that digitally reunited Clarence Gilyard, Sheree J. Wilson, Nia Peeples, and Judson Mills. And they talked all things Walker.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's possible we may have even asked a question or two.
Well, we'll have to see.
And a little later in the special episode, we'll also have a little bonus tidbit from our recent interview with Walker, Texas Ranger Key Makeup artist Caryn Bardunias pertaining to filming a shirtless Chuck Norris. If that's your bag, stick around.
You got my attention.
Clearly.
But before we dig into all that juicy goss, before we spill that tea, join us as we pull up a stool at CD's Bar and Grill, where we've got a special announcement to make. Oh, hi, guys.
Hey, man. Just it's been a while since we've been here at CD's together.
Sure has.
Always feels like home.
I know. Particularly now that they've removed the restrictions down here in Texas.
Well, did they ever really have restrictions?
Well, before we dig into everything here, CD has actually served us up a relatively fitting brew for a podcast dissecting an online panel. And this week we're dealing with a Table Talk Blueberry Lemon Pie Ale.
Intriguing.
So,
Indeed.
For those of you not familiar with Table Talk pies, when you are at the grocery store and you're walking down the bread aisle, and there's a whole aisle of bread, and next to that bread, there's usually a little like kind of display that is next to the bread, and it has pie products. So gelatinous fruit mix encased with some sort of shelf stabilized dough product.
That's pretty accurate right there.
And Table Talk is a local to Massachusetts. They're actually a Worcester-based factory that makes some of these hand pies.
Hand pies.
Go pies.
Yeah, they're good to go. And yeah, I mean you can buy one. It can sit around on the shelf, unlike a normal pie, for weeks, and it will
Years. Really.
possibly years.
Definitely.
It will be no worse the wear. That's for sure.
Well, so I've always wanted to drink one of them. So, are we going to get to do that? Is that what you're saying, or what?
Well, yeah. Apparently, this is a collaboration between Table Talk Pies and Wormtown Brewery in Worcester, Massachusetts.
Is it Worcester or Worcester?
It's
Worcester.
It's neither. It's Worcester.
Worcester.
And according to the Bar and Grill menu, the beer captures the essence of bready crust and fresh blueberry filling, which are two things that the original Table Talk pie lacks. By adding real blueberry lemon pies, and an abundance of blueberry puree. So I don't know what the abundance is, but we'll figure that out. It apparently all culminates in a refreshing fruit beer bursting with flavors of fresh blueberries, golden pie crust, and bright tart lemon peel. You guys ready to embark on this journey?
I don't know if I'm going to be able to talk after, but sure, let's do this.
I didn't understand when you were reading the description why they focus so much on the crust. You know?
Well,
you got
I think because I don't know either.
If it's a pie,
I can't
if you're going to call
justify
the beer a pie, it has to have a taste of the crust in there. So if it doesn't taste like it, at least it's on the can, and you think it's in there. So let's see if we taste the crust. I'm going in 3, 2, 1. That's.
I might taste the crust, which might be a problem.
It's pretty lemon forward.
Yeah, the lemon I could deal with.
Yeah.
I don't know about the crust. I don't know if I taste it, but if I do, I don't know. It's like a sour, sort of.
Yeah, that's...
What's the lemon cleaner? It's not Pine Sol. Mr. Clean, maybe? Lemon Fresh? I don't know.
Yeah, Dawn.
Yeah. This brewery has also been the subject of some recent Twitter things about some harassment and stuff like that. So I don't feel bad shitting on them.
Okay. Little table talk.
Okay.
Right, little table talk for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now that we've got our bevies, we'd like to keep you all in the loop about our plans for season 2 of Roundhouse Roulette. Now, we'd like to add that this is an actual season and that we've run the entire year. So it's no cheeseball TV season where it's like a couple months. Nowadays, it's like a Netflix season where they just release everything over the course of a week. And then they're like, we'll be back in a couple of years.
We just completed a marathon of at least one podcast a week for a year. Thank you all for supporting us in that journey. It's definitely been a blast digging into all the Walker Texas Ranger lore with you, and we can't thank you guys enough for listening. And
yeah, we went from 0 podcasts a week to at least 1. Unless you guys had other podcasts you did before this, I don't know.
No.
Yeah, no, I definitely did not.
You guys are my first.
Oh,
it's great. Yeah,
it's touching.
Well, needless to say, the podcast here has given us something else to lose our minds about in the face of the COVID lockdown and whatnot. To date, we've actually recapped and reviewed 40 episodes of Walker Texas Ranger and 3 choice Chuck Norris movies. And that's not counting our interviews and minisodes.
It's a very deep catalog.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, we'd like to thank anyone who has reviewed or shared the cast with a friend and those crazy listeners who ponied up their hard-earned dough to help us pay our web hosting and fuel our shenanigans by either purchasing merch or becoming a patron. You rock.
Most definitely.
100%.
Well, while we're at it here, we'd like to give a shout out to everybody who has helped us to make this podcast more professional than it ever deserved to be. I'd like to give a shout out to my wife, Sarah, who has been lending her graphic design prowess. She did our logo, our website, our merch, and even has recreated some of the posters from the TV show that were literally in like 10 frames of an episode. She brought those to life because, I mean, someone had to do it, and she stepped up to the plate. But shout out to her, and be sure to give her a follow on Instagram. She has a bunch of her art up at The Intuitive Report. So check it out.
We'd also like to thank Adam Lauritsen, who's the master illustrator and Calvin and Hobbes superfan, who's been bringing you each episode's Walkerstration, which are featured heavily on our social media as well as on each of the episode pages on our website. At 43 Walkerstrations, he's oh so close to reaching the 50 Shades of Walker. So be sure to check out his other artwork on Instagram at Imagination Run Amok.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let us not forget Adam's brother, Austin, who's a fellow drummist and is also a master coder. He coded the Roundhouse Roulette ranking page. You can sort every episode we've reviewed by any of the stats that we collect. You want to find the episode with the most fights? Sort it.
Do it.
Car chases?
Do it.
Sort it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whatever you like, whatever you want.
Whatever you're into.
Yeah, whatever you're into. If you're looking to hack into the mainframe, hit him up at veryaustin.com.
Yeah, he could definitely get the job done for you, whether it's legal or not. So
Sweet.
We'd also like to thank this past year's guests. Our first guest was actually Adam, our Walkerstrator, so be sure to check that out. But our second guest was Armando of Fort Worth, Texas's Talented Slackers podcast. He actually lives by some of the locations where Walker, Texas Ranger is filmed and was present at the filming of the pilot. The Slackers have also covered a few seasons of Walker, Texas Rangers, so be sure to check out their podcast wherever you listen to podcasts.
We'd also like to thank another interviewee, the Walker, Texas Rangers script supervisor, Supreme, Mignon Monroe. She runs the Walker, Texas Ranger Set Life Instagram page and is always dropping behind-the-scenes photos, which are pretty sweet.
Yeah.
If you want to check those out, give her a follow at WalkerTXPics.
Then we have last week's guest, Caryn Bardunias, who served as the key makeup artist on the first 4 seasons of Walker, Texas Ranger. She currently runs the lifestyle website, theladiesroom.net, so be sure to check in there for some fresh takes.
Most definitely. I mean, I hang out at
100%.
the ladies' room a lot.
100%.
Yeah. But she also provided us with a bunch of behind-the-scenes photos from her time there that are on her episode page at roundhouseroulette.com. So be sure to check those out. There's some cool behind-the-scenes photos. And as we mentioned, we've got a bonus bit from her interview coming up here at the end of this podcast.
All those interviews and more are available on our website archive or wherever you listen to them podcasts. All that is leading up to say that for our second year of Roundhouse Roulette, we'll be switching to releasing podcasts every other week.
Wah, 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 wah.
What, man?
We spell that building up to say that we're just going to like slack off. That's really what it comes down to.
What?
Now, we could just give all these excuses as to why it's going to happen, but...
Why is it happening, Evan? What's going on? Do you not like Walker anymore, Evan? Is that...
It has something to do with the whole reason we started this.
Right. I think we had a bit more time on our hands initially, so
okay.
As really we might not have changed over this period of time, but the world's expectations of us have changed. So
we're popular people. I mean, people want us in their lives. So we can.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far.
But okay, all right, no, fair.
No.
I know things have picked up for me here. My bluegrass band is playing at least one more gig a week, and we're getting back to it. And
so that's one group that we did not acknowledge, which is the Tennessee Warblers, Adam's bluegrass band, who play the theme music. Come on, dude. Shameless plug here, and you just missed that slam dunk.
Well,
think of how many...
this is the first time we even acknowledged that. But
exactly.
I felt it was a little self-serving, so I never wanted to do it. But
what?
Now that we're here, I'm going to dive right in. So
50 episode, like
yeah. So
a year in.
We're actually working on finishing an album recorded a few years ago, but kind of put on pause with COVID and everything. And at those same sessions, just because we laid down the Walker theme, and it's come in handy for this podcast. So we might be putting that out in some format. But shout out to Charles Butler, who is an amazing banjo player and also plays the dobro on the recording there. My friend, a longtime collaborator, Dean Merrill on the upright bass, and John Beck on the mandolin. They've been, I guess, kind of hanging out with you guys too, jamming in the opening and interstitial music as well.
And they get some good royalties for that too, right?
Every time we...
Yeah.
They get nothing.
They get nothing.
They're nothing.
I'll do it again.
Yeah.
Actually, all right, yeah.
Still nothing.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, shout out to them, and it's been great getting back to picking with those guys, and we're going to start focusing on getting back into the thick of playing music here in Nashville and beyond, and releasing a record this year. So that's one of the reasons that going down to every other week will help me and help us keep the quality of the podcast up, because we don't want to not edit, because honestly, we're not professional speakers here. We're just Walker Texas Ranger fans who saw a need to dig into Walker. You know, if I didn't take out all the stuttering I do, and you know,
oh yeah, if you left in, you should leave in like 5 minutes unedited to see how terrible we are, because we're bad. We're bad.
Yeah, and right now, what you're hearing right now is edited. So imagine,
is it? It doesn't sound like it to me.
Yeah.
Wait, this isn't going to be edited out?
No, this is in.
This is in.
No,
100% in.
Yeah,
Wow.
and look, just imagine this times 10, and then you'll be like, oh man, I'm really glad they edit. So just saying, if we didn't edit, we could just put it right up and it'd be done. But
Nobody wants that.
Yeah, we've got a level that we've set for ourselves that we would hope to exceed. We don't want to slip.
A certain level of excellence.
Yeah.
We will not accept anything less.
Right. But Bob and I, one of the reasons we're actually able to do an episode a week is Bob and I actually both went to college together and experimented.
That's staying in.
I hope you edit out that pause.
No. We did go to college together, but we both studied sound recording technology. So we both are able to edit. So we take turns doing the episodes, but they take us at least a full day's work for every episode that we edit. Obviously, we love it, but I would like to see the family again someday. But we have every intention of hitting all 200 episodes. At least I know I do. Do you guys?
100%.
That wasn't very confident.
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
This is the most confident.
Absolutely.
What if I said 80%? What if I said 60%?
Right. And honestly, another reason why we are slowing the process here is it's going to take us longer to complete all 200 episodes, and we get to hang out with you guys longer. And hopefully we'll outlast the reboot, too.
Oh, I think we definitely will. The question is, will any of us die during this run? Mm-hmm. It's just drop dead.
Yeah, I think the first season of the reboot did really well, but that's because everyone was stuck inside their houses.
That makes sense.
That's the COVID bump.
Right. Well, needless to say, we thank you guys for hanging out with us and hope you understand why we're dropping it down. But please know our passion, it has not waned with Walker, and we are in for this, and we are hopefully going to continue building an oral history of Walker. If we can, anybody who's worked on the show that wants to come talk, we'd love to talk with you. We do a thorough background check. That's another reason that we have to kind of bring it down to 2 episodes a month, because I've literally had to drive out and investigate to make sure these people actually worked on the show.
That never happened.
Okay.
And there's a ton of people that didn't even make it on because you failed them.
Yeah.
I mean, Chuck Norris was going to come on, but you're like, ooh.
Yeah, but he didn't have a blue check mark, so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He was trying to sell me gold.
That might have been the real one.
Gold and water. I don't know.
Yeah. So that's the deal, guys. But we just wanted to keep you in the loop, and we appreciate you sticking with us.
Well, with that out of the way, when we come back, it'll be time for us to dissect the revelations from the recent Wizard World panel with the cast of Walker Texas Ranger. Sans Chuck Norris, of course.
Naturally.
And please note that we are not sponsored by Wizard World, although it seems like something that would sponsor us.
Hopefully. I mean,
based on those
logos, we should mention that if you're interested in what we're talking about, you can still rent this panel, which is about 40 minutes of content, for around $4 on their website. And we'll put a link to it on this week's episode page. So if you don't want any spoilers, which I suppose there will be some, hit that pause button and come on back to us after watching it. Otherwise, buckle up, grab that napkin, because we're about to spill this tea.
Spill it.
Welcome back. Let's dig into this. So this event was initially brought to our attention by Mark Alimo. That's pronounced Alimo, superfan Elisa.
She reached out to us and said, "Did you see this?" And I'm like, "We are a Walker Texas Ranger podcast, and there's this Wizard World Walker Texas Ranger panel happening in like 4 days, and I hadn't seen it, and I'm on social media like crazy. Come on, Wizard World. What's up?"
Blaming them, or should you just take the blame yourself that you weren't on the ball?
I don't know.
You should have like timed Google searches.
I'm doubting myself, but thankfully she reached out to us and let us know about it, and we had to cover this.
It was an all virtual event. I assume they probably, under normal circumstances, would have tried doing some sort of in-person thing.
Right, at like a convention or something.
Yeah, but honestly, I don't know if a convention would have actually brought all of these people together, whereas the virtual component meant that there was a pretty good turnout here.
Like we said, we literally had Clarence Gilyard, Sheree J. Wilson, Judson Mills, and Nia Peeples all together. They had a moderator who was from Wizard World, and he conducted this whole panel. The first thing I'll start out with, it was kind of cool to see them all together, and it seemed like they had a general good vibes between everybody, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's like all the supporting cast. Everyone that was like just below Walker. If you had Chuck Norris there, every question would have gone to him. It wouldn't have really made any sense anyway. Plus, he's old now.
He hasn't really historically done a lot of interviews just because I think he's kind of a guarded person and is not necessarily a great public speaker. So anything he's done in the past has kind of been out of necessity, it seems like. So I don't think he actually would have added to this event, honestly, in my opinion.
No, I don't think so. I think it's better that he's not there as a distraction.
Exactly. I don't think they mentioned Chuck Norris for a while in this whole panel, right?
Yeah, not very much. Yeah. There's some stories regarding him.
Before the event happened, they reached out on Instagram and they were like, "Anybody have any questions for the panel?" And I was like, okay. And they did actually ask that question of the cast.
Well, there were two that you got in there.
Yeah, you asked, they said, Roundhouse Roulette asks, and both Sheree and Judson were quite familiar with us.
Yeah. Yep.
And we've actually engaged with both of them in the past, so that's kind of funny. I was hoping to get some level of acknowledgement from Nia Peeples or Clarence Gilyard, but my guess is that neither of them is really particularly active on the social media. We learned that Nia Peeples, who plays Sydney in the show, doesn't even have a television. And she lives at her mom's house. So,
I think she moved in with her mom for the pandemic.
Yeah, that's probably
yeah. So, she's probably not doom scrolling through Twitter looking at who a trio of jamokes like ourselves are tagging her in Facebook or other illustrations and things. So,
yeah, Judson was like, "Oh, I know those guys. I've seen them on Instagram." And Sheree was like, "Oh, those guys are great."
Yeah.
I was like,
she's correct.
Yes.
100%. 100%.
And I was like, absolutely.
I was like, mission accomplished.
Maybe we should go back and watch that part again and just focus on Clarence Gilyard. See if he...
I did. There was no acknowledgement.
There's no
nothing.
He was like looking at his phone. Yeah, okay.
Nothing.
Because if we saw just like a
little twinkle in his eye.
A little twitch, anything at all, really.
Yeah. Now, he is a classically trained actor, so he could mask that.
Damn, yeah, you're right.
That's very true. Damn. But at the same time, we know he's not very good with technology because at the very beginning of this, he was like in and out of like a Zoom call. And he was like, I guess he was outside. He's like, "Oh, I want to do the interview outside." But it's like Wi-Fi probably was like a mile away.
Yeah. It seemed to stabilize.
He said his phone overheated.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of our questions... What's the weirdest place that you have seen yourself on TV in a Walker Texas Ranger episode? Both of our questions got some good mileage, probably the best mileage out of any of the questions asked, I think, right?
Yeah, I was kind of upset that the moderator moved on after only two people's answers to that question, because I suspect that the other two would have had...
equally as awesome answers.
Yeah.
Sheree was saying that it was interesting when she was like overseas in Europe and seeing like what she sounded like in French.
Yeah, dubbed over in French. Which I think I've talked about in the past. My friend who was in Italy saw Walker there, and it was just called Wacko. And his voice was really deep.
It was a lot more manly than Chuck Norris's actual voice.
Yeah, so I guess Sheree really appreciated hearing herself dubbed in the French language with, I guess, a strange voice, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Really, probably the best story came from Judson. What did he say?
Oh, that's when he was like...
There was a writer's strike and a SAG strike of some sort as well.
Yeah.
So in that time, nobody could work filming TV shows and stuff. And so I guess he had a side hustle that was, flipping houses and construction.
Yeah, so wasn't he... was he in a house? He was in a house. What did you say? He was like replacing a toilet or something.
Yeah,
he was like in this house, and there was a TV on, and he was on the screen in an episode of Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yeah, so he's like literally fixing the toilet, and
yeah,
the person there is like, that's you on
that's
TV,
the glory days,
and you're
right
fixing
there.
my toilet kind of situation.
He said he may have been swapping out a toilet, and people were watching the TV and sort of doing the double take.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. So I mean, that's pretty classic, and he was a good sport to tell that one. So, and then our other question we got in there was there ever a time where you told your stunt double, "Oh no, it's cool, I got this," and regretted it?
Yeah, right.
Apparently, Judson, not surprisingly, we've learned this a couple times, actually through our interaction with him, that he did a lot of his own stunts. I think Nia did too.
Yeah.
She was really into the choreography aspects of it. She was actually a singer and dancer. She may still be too, but I know before Walker, that was part of her career too. So I think the choreography part of it really appealed to her. And Judson also, I guess, was doing some like training with kickboxing and stuff. And he rode his own motorcycle all the time. So I guess anytime there was motorcycle stunts, he did his own. But there was one time when he was supposed to be chasing a guy down the sidewalk on his motorcycle, and they switched up the set or something, and he had a little less room than he thought when he practiced the day before, and he ended up flying through some sort of plate glass window and getting hurt real bad. He got pretty banged up. Real bad.
Banged up. I mean, not enough. They finished the episode a few days later, right?
Oh my god,
that's what they said. But he's like got stitches or something on his face.
He got pretty banged up.
Ugh,
yeah, he said he had to make the call between nailing the camera crew with his motorcycle or going through a sheet of glass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, camera crew is like, thank you.
God. But yeah, that's one he kind of wished that the stunt guy had done. Understandable. Clarence Gilyard kind of told a story about, essentially it was like, oh no, I was totally cool to let my stunt double do the stuff. But what was the story he told?
Yeah, there's one time that he felt really bad about it. And I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was like,
I think the stunt double had to jump off a bridge into a river. And they didn't get it the first time around, so they had to do it again.
a huge jump.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm sorry you had to do this, buddy, but I'll be here waiting with a towel for you. That's what he said. And Sheree, it sounds like Sheree might have been talking about the Juggernaut episode.
Oh, yeah.
Am I right? She did say that although she didn't do a lot of the rolling down hills and stuff like that, there was at least one time where they gave her a rubber log to hit a guy with that was at a battered women's retreat, which leads me to believe it was the Juggernaut episode.
It's definitely the Juggernaut episode, yeah.
That we've already potted on. So apparently the wood that they're hitting the bad guy with is like a rubber log or something like that.
And flogged by a log.
I think my favorite question that the moderator asked, I don't know if it was really a question, but it was more of a statement. He said that the writing on the show was really good.
Yeah,
right?
It's true.
And the whole cast winced.
Yeah, he said the writing was really good, and then they all laughed at him.
Exactly.
Really? I missed that.
Dude, no, that was the best, one of the best moments.
Oh, man.
You can tell they're used to walking a fine line with the show Walker, Texas Ranger, because there are diehard fans who take it as gospel truth and literal level. And if you're listening to this podcast, you know that we take it from another angle.
A religious angle.
The camp aspect.
Yeah, they understand that. But Nia was kind of like, well, by good writing, if you mean that the good guys always win, something like that. And that's kind of what was revelatory for me, is you're not sure how they feel about it.
For sure.
And they're all in. They know exactly what Walker, Texas Ranger is.
They definitely do, yeah.
And Sheree was saying like, oh yeah, I was kidnapped like every other episode.
Yeah, you gotta have my knight in shining armor. Come save me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they all knew what was going on. But it seemed like the cast all got along well and whatnot. And, they were probably along for the ride.
So yeah, there was some pretty hot goss to come out of this. One of the interesting things that I learned from this was that none of them have watched the reboot. So we've got that up on them. Or down, as the case may be.
Right.
Well, I think their understanding of a reboot might be the same as mine.
Yeah.
As we've gone over many times. I needed to be explained what a reboot was on multiple occasions.
But, as a follow-up to asking about the reboot, they were kind of asked if they were to think of the original TV show in the present day and the characters from that show. They were asked sort of where those characters would be today. And one, I would say that Judson Mills confirms the fan theory that is running rampant within the fanfic community.
Oh, yeah.
That Gage and Sydney are destined to become a couple. And the two of them, they seem to confirm that. Mm-hmm. And, in their version of the future Walker, the two of them are settled down in a cute little house with a white picket fence, and they've got their own little detective agency. And perhaps the biggest bombshell of all is that Clarence Gilyard refused to have any comment on that because he's apparently working on his own TV show.
Which it sounds like he might be working on a Trevette solo series.
Spin-off, maybe.
Dude, that'd be sick.
That would be awesome.
That would be really good.
If it was just called Trevette.
And they did it in the exact same style. That's what I want. Sorry.
Texas Ranger. Yeah, that's probably the biggest revelation from this was that.
Is it? Or did he just have nothing to say and he just put that out there as a joke?
I don't know, but
he could just be messing with us.
That's going to be our clickbait for this podcast for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Agreed.
I haven't seen that anywhere else online.
This is breaking news.
Evan, you need to write a clickbait blog. You know how they do those blogs that are literally like a paragraph?
Right, like...
The headline is half of the story.
5 things that should be in the Trevette spinoff of Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yes.
Yeah, dude, but I would be all in on a Trevette spinoff.
That would be awesome.
My other favorite moment that came from Clarence was when he took it as a badge of honor that they were lampooned in Mad Magazine.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Right?
But that feeling wasn't shared by Mr. Norris.
No.
Right? He was not happy about that. He saw it as a joke. So I think that's another thing. I think everyone else in the cast is kind of on our level.
Right. But Chuck Norris took it totally serious, which is why the show it's why we like the show.
Yeah.
If he didn't take it seriously and everyone around him knew the reality, it wouldn't be as good. That's what makes it
I think
good.
if they leaned into the ridiculousness, it wouldn't be sustainable. I think it's just the right level of ridiculousness to keep people like us intrigued.
It is, exactly. But, as soon as I heard him say that, though,
you went out and bought it?
I've got the Mad Magazine.
Of course you do. What's the date on that bad boy?
God, you're out of control, dude.
This is March 1996. But here's the messed up thing, okay? There's an article here on Bill Gates, okay? And it's Bill Gates marries Melinda Gates. and they joke on him signing a prenuptial agreement.
Wow. The timing couldn't have been better.
Days after it became public that they're getting divorced.
So you have all the details of the prenup from the Mad magazine?
Exactly. Let's just see what Chuck Norris would have seen when he started reading this. You guys in? I'm going to pull up this magazine here for you.
Yeah, let's do it.
This is, as they would say, a deep dive.
Yeah. All right. So as you can see on the cover here, who's the main character for Mad? What's his name?
This is Alfred E. Newman, and he appears to be sandwiched between Friends characters Phoebe and Rachel. And 1996 was when Rachel had the layered hairdo that curved inwards.
Called the Rachel, I think.
Yes,
right?
Yep.
Yeah, also kind of timely because they just had the Friends reunion special. So,
Yeah, dude, you're clairvoyant.
But so the comic that lampoons Walker is called Sleepwalker, Texas Stranger. Bob, do you want to read the first thing Chuck Norris would read at the top? It's kind of like a little memo before you start the comic, and it's from the Up Chuck Norris department.
Yeah. Most critics agree that Karate King Chuck Norris's talents are too small to fill the big movie screen effectively. But now that he's got his own TV series, it's a different story. It's obvious his talents are too small to fill the small TV screen as well. See for yourself as we comatose our way through Sleepwalker, Texas Stranger.
So instantly they're saying his movie career is terrible and that his TV career is going to be about as dismal.
I mean, it's Mad Magazine. They made fun of everything.
Right. But if you take stuff really seriously, that's going to hurt.
I guess. Maybe it's more focused on him. And as we all know, he didn't have much of a sense of humor.
But the opening panel here has the Walker parody, and then you've got a Clarence Gilyard parody, an Alex parody, and a CD parody. And they each have a little speech bubble that is pretty dead on for the show.
They basically point out all the things that we've pointed out, but perhaps a bit more harshly.
Most definitely.
Right.
There's one scene where the Trevette character and the Walker character are kind of standing out in the stockyards with the pickup truck behind them. And he's like, Walker, you're sweating like crazy. I didn't think this sort of thing bothered you. And he's like, I'm sweating because I'm wearing this heavy down to the floor overcoat they gave me for the opening credits. And it's 101 degrees.
He's got the duster, man.
Yep.
The duster is sweet.
They even tool on the duster, the badass duster opening of Walker.
I wish he wore that all the time.
I don't think they ever wore it in the show.
I know. I don't think I've ever seen it either.
And that's probably why.
Damn.
Anyway, we'll share a few panels of this on the socials for you guys and try not to get sued by Mad Magazine. Anything else that we missed talking about?
Well, there was this sort of hazing incident where I guess early on,
Clarence Gilyard, playing Trevette, was fighting Chuck Norris's son in the scene and was a little overzealous, hitting Chuck Norris's son, who was playing the bad guy.
Well, I guess the next episode started with a scene where Trevette is sparring with Walker, and Chuck Norris took a few liberties to deliver a couple extra body blows to Clarence there to let him know what happens if you hit his son too hard with a 2x4.
Yeah, I think he said he was hitting the solar plexus.
Yeah.
Like a mama bear protecting his cubs.
Yeah, pretty classic.
Oh, also, I love the little tidbit. Anytime a bear in the episode looks like it's roaring, it's actually reaching out and trying to grab a marshmallow. So that was a pretty good little tidbit.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think people were bringing up the bear attack with Judson, and he's like, people really love that episode.
Yeah, I noticed that too. He's like, yeah, I've heard a lot.
They have bear vision, and he gets mauled by a bear. So
I think they're on a bachelor party outside of bear country.
Walker's bachelor party.
Weird. Yeah.
And there were still some tidbits that we didn't address here, so I definitely recommend, if you're a fan of Walker, Texas Ranger, dropping $4 and watching it.
Mm-hmm. It kind of showed a little bit of the chemistry between those four cast members.
Oh, yeah.
And they all seem to get along pretty well. Like, one of the things, Nia says something about Sheree's wedding. right? Some crazy thing that happened at her wedding.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, it was
obviously
the
they were
wedding in the
friends.
show, okay? And this apparently they filmed the wedding at Mark Cuban's actual house. And what they did was, I guess whoever cased, or when you're a production person, you go out to the location and say, okay, well, we're going to film here. We need to treat everything. And, unfortunately, there's a swimming pool here, and this needs to be where the guests sit so that we can have the wedding ceremony happening with a good scenic view. And so they put boards over the pool and like a carpet over it and a bunch of chairs and had people sit on top of the pool.
Yeah.
And you would never know, but then I guess the board started to give way. and they had obviously, a bunch of different older people are always at weddings, and they were seated over the pool and were about to like fall in, and it almost collapsed on itself.
I guess Judson was acting as a true Texas Ranger and pulling them all out.
Oh my gosh.
And the extras were wondering if it was meant to happen.
Well, it is a Walker Texas Ranger episode, so
I think if 2020 and 2021 so far have shown us anything, it's that Zoom is another one of those great equalizers. So it was pretty fun to see see people.
Wait, should I stop?
To see people in connection issues.
Yeah,
right. Most definitely
with the Zoom. So that's also pretty fun. So worth the $4 for sure. When we come back, we'll leave you with a little tidbit from last week's interview with Caryn, where she describes the technique used to oil up a shirtless walker for the screen. And what a tidbit. Don't you dare go away. Welcome to the panel, podcast listeners. Now, the man you've all been waiting for, Mr. Bob Leahy, who portrayed Ranger Bob in one season of Roundhouse Roulette.
Can you hear me now?
Dude, you're upside down. Can you rotate your phone?
How about now?
Oh, you're breaking you're breaking up, man.
I'm trying to zoom in from my back 40. Gotta get closer to the Wi-Fi, BRB.
Awkward. Welcome to the live showbiz, folks. While we wait for the star to power through his technical difficulties, let me tell you that we here at Roundhouse Roulette have pledged to deliver the Light of Walker Texas Ranger to the world. And if you'd like to join us in that mission, please share the pod with a friend or leave us a kind review on Apple Podcasts. It truly helps other Walkerites find the cast. Also, we've recently added some fresh merch at roundhouseroulette.com, or you can join in the fun on our Patreon page. Most importantly, though, we thank you for listening.
Hello? Hello?
Oh, Bob's back, but unfortunately we're out of time. We got to get back to the podcast.
Dagnabbit. I guess I'm going to stick to horseshoes and hand grenades.
I have a couple cool pictures. I have this one. I don't know if you can see.
Yeah.
It's but that's not Chuck. That's Kenny Gibson. That's one of his stunt doubles. That's his main. Yeah. That was his main stunt double.
Okay.
And he has since passed away. But yes, we were. That was a rough day for us. Putting body makeup on him.
Yeah, he seemed like he probably is a contender for one of the most interesting men in the world, Kenny Gibson, right?
Yes. Yeah, with the jetpack and yeah.
I saw I found a video. I was waiting to show the guys. I found a video of him in a jetpack on a Michael Jackson tour.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He switched spots with Michael Jackson, and the crowd thought it was Michael rocketing off, but it was Kenny.
Yeah. He was badass.
That's a versatile stunt double too. I mean, you can stand in for Chuck Norris or Michael Jackson.
I mean,
unbelievable. But
exactly.
Oh, well, I guess while I got you too, I didn't think about it. I don't know why. The last episode, I mean, I still can't get it out of my head. There were 2 scenes with Chuck Norris shirtless. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to deal with this stuff, but did they grease him down?
Yeah.
How do they go
Did
about
I not
this?
show you the picture of Kenny Gibson?
She definitely did. She definitely did. So what's the grease of choice? What's the grease of choice for that then? Is that like little baby oil? Are we talking like avocado oil? What's the...
we don't want any breakouts.
You know what's funny? I know what we would use Skin So Soft because there was a lot of mosquitoes.
I remember that, yeah.
And a lot of bugs. So we would use a lot of that on our side. I don't know what Ilona, what little concoction she had come up with, but I guarantee you she took credit for making it.
Yeah, gotcha.
Skin So Soft. Oh man, I'm gonna now every time I see shirtless Chuck Norris, I'm gonna think, man, he not only is he delivering a roundhouse kick to someone's face, but he smells like Skin So Soft.
Yeah, yeah, he does. Yeah, he does.
Awesome. Well, yeah, you'll have to if it's cool with you. If you can send us some of those pictures, we'll put them up on your episode page for people to check out.
So I have some pictures here. So this is myself. Dark haired.
Yeah.
Ashley, my friend, the makeup artist that I moved here with. And that's Winston. That was Chuck's assistant.
Okay.
For years. Winnie. We loved him. Here's a little, I think this is from when we were in Colorado.
Okay.
An episode in Colorado.
Whitewater.
Yes. That was a good episode.
Yeah, that was a good episode. I can't wait to get to that one.
I showed you that one. And there's Ilona. You can see her, the short little blonde woman.
Okay, and they're applying this this kind of a Skin So Soft ointment to Chuck Norris's stunt double, Kenny Gibson, who was a champ there. Yeah,
he was a rock star. Sick body too.
Well, we hope you all learned something about Walker Texas Ranger that you didn't know before. I know I sure did. But if you didn't, please send us your complaints on social media or by emailing us at roundhouseroulette@gmail.com. We hope you'll join us next time when we'll be back to our regular format and sharing our reactions to another epic Walker Texas Ranger episode. Thanks for listening, and until next time,
may the eyes of the Ranger
be upon you.
When you're in Texas, look behind you. Oh, 'cause that's where the Ranger's gonna be.